afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero Strike, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Semoisky Winter between the South Brigade here and his best Tomakaze, fighting for America, freedom, democracy, and the American dream here with the First Armoured Division, tasked with clearing out this village held by the Germans under the command here of Panzer Brigade Angreifen, held by elements of the 112th Panzer Brigade here, supported by Jaeger elements. Any Jaegers on the Western Front that would likely have been SS Jaegers, which were sort of more spec ops chaps anyways. So we got Scavenge versus Rifle Company, meaning both players got a clear plan for what they want to do here in this battle. We got triple infantry for Angreifen with grenades and double infantry for Tomakaze. Double reaction start here, which certainly will work quite well there with the flamethrower upgrades. Full's going to be cool bugs there for Angreifen as rushed straight in with the Sturmpanies looking to gain dominant positions using the Sturmpanies' initial overwhelming firepower to that way gain an edge. But here in the centre of the map it's a bit more difficult due to all the houses, which can to an extent sort of cut down on it. So right there, Angreifen might make some progress, but at the same time there's a possibility that things don't quite work out the way he had intended. Tomakaze, they're also focusing here with more infantry though. He's not going to be able to grab any fuel right away. Angreifen might have a chance for that, but he seems also to be focusing most of his efforts on the centre. Sturmpanies have been pushed back. Too many Americans with too many guns. Got the forces occupying the church, allowing the Sturmpanies to fall back to a safer position where they don't get quite nearly shot as much at. So both players here putting severe, intense efforts on the centre of the map here. Whoever controls the village centre, they feel, is the one who wins this match, despite there not being any fuel at all in the centre. Sturmpanies to grab the centre victory point. Full to continue to fight out. You've got the Kubank flanking against the Rifleman. Oh dear, catch the Sturmpanies out in the open. There you go. Poor Johan goes down. Kubank doing what they can. The Rifle flanking the church, pretty much meaning there's only one full that can fire back. There's very much the advantage here of Tomakaze's Rifleman, less to the advantage of Angreifen's full Grenadiers hold up inside the church with another squad on the way there. We got some movement in the south here with some echelons. We got more troops arriving towards the centre to support Tomakaze's push there against the Germans, against the Krauts. Angreifen switching towards the fuel point in the north. Realising there's not much begin there using Sturmpanies already heavily damaged. Almost got the southern fuel point, which will have immediately connected, but he probably won't be able to hold it. So he might have better and more luck trying to reconnect the northern fuel point instead. There's a lot of pressure against the full Grenadiers in the church, but we got the squad there moving in to support the full Grenadiers hiding inside the holy site, with more riflemen on the way there for Tomakaze as well. He's getting closer to the flamethrowers, but he's still short on munitions. In that regard, his intense focus in the centre not working out well has ensured that Tomakaze has not been getting a lot of munitions, allowing them for a fast flamethrower here versus Angreifen. And thusly he could have quickly gained dominance in the village centre, since that would allow him to pretty much win most of his engagements versus the full Grenadiers early on, unless like Angreifen got really lucky or did something really clever. In the south here, Kubank being swarmed by Americans. That's going to go down. That's going to be quite a loss if Angreifen in the early games. Kubank hasn't been able to seize as much territory as he'd like to, so the impact of that one's going to be limited, and that's going to be a big win then for Tomakaze. Also, they continue to be tied down here in the village centre. Both players continue to just pour in there their own personal Stalingrad, as they refuse to give ground to back down. Shots fired there. Almost got the northern fuel point connected. Truck on the way there for Angreifen. That's probably going to be a battle group headquarters, which would indicate certain infantry have built here versus Tomakaze, who's now going for a mortar. A mortar. No, he cancels it. And looks like he's instead going for tech. And he's going for the lieutenant here. The lieutenant sandbags being laid down here by Angreifen to start full Grenadier. Rifleman flanking up behind. Rifleman setting up for an assault here as well more directly. But finally Angreifen has managed to connect the northern fuel point. Finally. Forces back in the church. Rifleman reaction pushing onwards. We have flamethrowers up here. Yes, there we go. Got the M2 flamethrower ready. And that's going to pretty much mean here any sort of stalling game for Angreifen. It's pretty much put, well, on fire really. And there's a wipe there. That's quite a loss there for Angreifen in the early game. That is going to deplete his initial ability to hold terrain, or even push more specifically can hold. But attacking is going to be a bit more difficult This is nice, just down to 1 to 2 on Pioneer Squad, 2 full squadrons versus 3 Rifle and 2 Vietnam squads. Overall, that means Tomakaze has a lot more pieces to move about on the board, and that means he can overall dictate more of the fighting here unless Angreifen pulls off something really, really clever. 50 caliber following up there for Angreifen. He's not too far off from the imps calling the Jaegers, which would allow him some more immediate field presence. That way, pushing back to Tomakaze and getting some hits in. And he will probably go for Jaegers. I said he will go. There we go. Jaegers arriving there, having infiltrated. The Germans, by the way, were quite keen on infiltration tactics, something the Americans and the Brits were not quite prepared for. The Russians, by the way, were also quite keen on infiltration tactics, though not quite, I think, to the degree the Germans were. The Germans, to an extent, when it came to the infantry tactics, emphasized infiltrating and sort of, catching the opponent off guard with such attacks. As opposed to, you could say that is what the Jaegers infiltrating from houses reflects. That someone pulled off a really, really, really amazingly clever flank somehow. So we got the Jaegers they're firing over with scoped. Gave over 43s and Kar 98Ks. Lieutenant moving up with the Beer Jan Thompson. Jaegers falls there in a pretty bad position, exposed out in the open. And there you go. He's sprinting back though. Jaegers, by the way, have sprint. Few players actually utilize a sprint on the Jaegers, but Angreifen is definitely not your usual player. You got the 50 caliber setting up, then the Mardus catching the Fulton in a pretty compromising position, compelling a very swift retreat, and the Jaegers also forced back here. Angreifen losing ground here to Tomakaze as he hurls his men forward. And a second Jaeger squad arrives, heading to defend the northern field point there. Pushing forwards there. Machine gun setting up there. I mean, overall you had the SS Jaegers, the Gebirgsjäger, and the Ski Jaeger technique. I mean, they were also called Gebirgsjäger. They're sort of more like, Ski Jaegers, because they hadn't really seen much mountain fighting. But those were really Jaeger types, besides the Flaksturm Jaegers that sort of fought on the Western Front in 1944-45. And as mentioned, the SS Jaegers were basically under Skorsena's command in the 150th SS Panzer Brigade, which was sort of, a deception unit sort of hastily put together there for the Ardennes fighting. Fun note there. Always securing points here. Jaegers standing about in their nice camouflage uniforms. Pioneer there. We got an anti-aircraft tactic on there for Tomakaze, possibly in anticipation there for the looks, in which case the anti-aircraft tactic, if properly set up, can actually do quite a bit of damage to the looks. It is a not quite well-known counter to it, though again it does require a bit of good setup. Otherwise it does get knocked up. If you can sort of set up in a good time and prepare it, it can actually do a lot of damage to the looks very fast. Quick flank here. Angreifen will keep running on with. He's a very stubborn player. Has a tendency of fighting to the last man, the last bullet. And in this case, also slightly occasionally launching some less than amazing attacks. Straight forward into the 50 caliber machine gun. German infantry there. Go Van Hand grenade off on the 50 caliber. But the problem is, they still have to get away. It's got the northern field point back, but CoH2 being hit in the meanwhile as well. In this regard, Tomakaze just decided not to engage the Jaegers head on. That was a pretty good move, and there you go. Got the anti-aircraft after got there for Tomakaze and the 1st Armoured Division. Academy from the way there for Angreifen. Certainly a rough start. Again, I can't help but feel his initial emphasis there on the village centre without really sort of having much success and then not shifting away focus from it. It was rather proven a bit unfortunate there for him. Allied troops in reinforcing Jaegers, overwhelmed by the number of Americans just pouncing through the non-existent lines. With Tomakaze there following up with a lieutenant. Not a lieutenant, an ambulance. Ambulance. My apologies. Didn't get much sleep last night.
Ambulance taking the field.
Again, map out there for Angreifen. After they're getting blasted, Fulton's being suppressed. Student Pioneer Fulton is setting out. Jaegers also arriving there for Angreifen. Healing reinforcement going on there as well. Overall here, I mean, if he's going to attack through, that's not going to work out well. This is overall a strong position there for Tomakaze. The only thing that can make it strong would be barbed wire and tank traps and maybe a fighting position. Looks like he's not going to try and engage it head on. That, I think, is the most sensible ideas there. But Angreifen again, whether he gets caught, they're trying to put up support. Looks like it's going to try and sort of move through here instead. You know, swing through here, and that way sort of flank about, heading up through the rear instead here. Certainly looks to be the approach with, I think, the highest chance of success there for Angreifen. Oh, unit wiped. Looks like something went wrong there for Tomakaze. Maybe he wasn't paying attention. Maybe the assault team drew away. Either way, Rifles got wiped. That's going to give Angreifen some more room here to maneuver in. It's going to leave Tomakaze with less forces with which to assist Angreifen's infantry assault as he blitzes through the right flank. And there you go, Rearsen's almost getting wiped, but the grenade assault house collapses as the explosions ripple through the interior. Jaegers quickly spreading reds by distance. Forces moving upset to draw fire. Rearsen's there. Ooh, small jumping wipe there. Low on health, and they have to retreat past here. There you go, wiped, and a flamethrower dropped here. Big win there for Angreifen, big win. His assault there, instead of getting engaging head on, is proving to paying off dividends already. Sturm has pushed back there, but the anti-aircraft after again of setting up needs to be careful there. It is in an exposed position. Nope, by the way, he did grab it on the Jaegers. And grenade there, so got grenades up early on for Tomakaze, by the way. Second 50 caliber on the way there, further digging in. Jaegers with the flamethrowers moving up there, burning away there the echelons, but that's not quite working out there. The anti-aircraft deck pretty much puts a stop to that. So we're at the assault rather into a lot of issues for Angreifen. He did some damage, he got 2 wipes, stole a flamethrower, but sadly he has not actually made any headway here versus Tomakaze. No real headway, so that assault did not work out. When he's committing more rather than continuing pushing through here instead, so they're attacking through here where, you know, most of Tomakaze's defenses are not. He's ultimately up in the ambulance here. He's feeling very confident about the strength of this area. In fact, so confident he's parked his ambulance right in it. That's generally something if Angreifen was aware, probably should tell him he shouldn't be constantly attacking into it. He's going for a light infantry gun to that way try and soften up, but he's also finally realizing he needs to sort of attack somewhere else rather than right into where Tomakaze is dug in like a tick. Fixing up the half-track there. And for those of you viewers wondering why did they use so many half-tracks, the thing about a half-track is it has a lot of the advantages of a fully tracked vehicle, which is, you know, it works well off roads. That's essentially the issue with a lot of regular trucks. They do not work well off roads, any muddy situations and such, and they sort of get stuck. Half-track sort of has a bit of the same issue, but then again you might as well not just use fully tracked vehicles. Well, the thing is, a fully tracked vehicle requires specialist training. Half-track, you just know how to drive a truck and you can drive a half-track. So in that regard, a lot of the armies used half-tracks because, well, they had all the benefits, you know, of a tracked vehicle, at least a lot of them, while still at the same time being an easy to train crews for. That's sort of the thing there. Fun fact. Quick grenade there against dodged here, but then again he's switching over. He's actually launching now several assaults here, 2 scale assaults, one in the east and one in the west here, catching the Rearsen's off guard there. Clearly this one is a minor one, sort of hope to make sort of gains as he's drawing attention to the bigger assault in the west. Overall, I think that's a very good move there by Angreifen. That is a very good move. It's risky though because, I mean, he's going to have to manage a lot more, but if it works out though, it works out. He could do a lot of damage there to Tomakaze. Perhaps cause him to make a few mistakes as he struggles to maintain. Ooh, he's firing all the cannon efforts at the 50 caliber. That's bold. South of the Jaegers pushed back by the lieutenant. Overall, we can see he's actually switching away efforts from the western assault, basically saying that's alright. Or he's got to contain and instead move towards the eastern assault to quickly lock that down. That's definitely also a way of doing it, just trying to stall the bigger one, while he quickly crash the small one and then move back efforts to the bigger one. It's definitely, I think, a tactically very sound move there by Tomakaze, to be honest. Again, bit risky, in this case forces him in back, but again, he can then afterwards sort of focus after he's dealt with this. But there you go, 50 caliber push back here, Jaegers continue to advance. Second 50 caliber there, they're covering up, ensuring the Jaegers do not go too far. Angreifen not taking up, it looks like it's going to try and line Ostwinds to push through there. Of course, the issue is Tomakaze has already gotten a made yacht and can, in fact, more or less already go for a Sherman EC8. So in that regard, Angreifen start here, and his, I think, overall emphasis there on the sense of the map that has proven to be disadvantageous for him, and allowed Tomakaze to just gain a fat head start. But obviously, Angreifen's not going to be deterred by that. He is a, again, skilled veteran player. We got a lot of artillery called in by Tomakaze. Incendiary strikes with white phosphorus, and Regular artillery here from the Major. Jaegers are going to have to fall back. Academy for dodgy shots from like half-track dodgy shots from Academy members, not the other way around. With an EC on the way there for Tomakaze and the First Armoured Division. Jaegers there dealing with the re-echelons, knifing out their tiny little heads beneath their tiny little helmets. Landing gun there providing artillery support as well. Sturmpioneer there arriving, supporting and reinforcing the situation there as Angreifen finally gains control of the centre, but I would say at quite a cost, in particular in terms of resources. Up here, healing reinforcement going on there. Academy of a crew horribly burned by the white phosphorus strike. You see it almost done. Lieutenant flanking in, pushing back a lot of Angreifen's troops. Can Angreifen pull through here? You got more Jaegers there, they're surrounding the lieutenant. There you go, quick grenade. Oh, wipes the Jaegers. Wipes the Jaegers. He did not anticipate that. And they got the Sherman tank on the way here, the M483E8. With the addition of a 50 caliber machine gun on top. So can Angreifen actually hold on to the territories finally gained? And how will he do so? But he's very close to the Ostwind. He's just a matter of moments, a bit of manpower. He can call in the Flaksturm. Of course, the issue is how helpful is that going to be versus the EC8. And it's got like Kednev obviously, and we can certainly just keep them occupied. To deal with note, while he's smoking, he's probably anticipating like Kednev already knows they'll be sort of around here. In this regard, Tomakaze is basically relying on experience just to assume, alright, this is where it's going to be. I might as well smoke just in case to ensure my tank doesn't get shot. That's just basic tactics, just, working off experience and, what usually happens that way, taking your actions. There you go, Flak punch on there for Angreifen. Double Kednev's on the ice. Jaegers wiped, another loss there for Angreifen and the 112th Panzer Brigade. EC8 they're falling back here under heavy Kednev for fire, almost taken down. Angreifen meanwhile choosing to pressure elsewhere, hitting the fuel points, trying to stop him from getting any more armor easily. Very good, got the flak puncher sitting out there. Centre though has fallen to Tomakaze and the 1st Armoured Division as it once more rolls into town. And Jaegers being stormed him around. We got the grenade assault off, but with the sprint here by using fire up. Very good move there by Tomakaze. Neglected ability and to pull through. Got a unit, I'm imagine up here. The Ostwind basically tore apart the rifle. There were a few there, he wasn't quite paying attention. And the Ostwind basically got close enough to just fire full, or at least the remaining man's magazine at point blank range, which worked out nicely. Got the Ostwind moving over here to support the Volksgrenadiers, pushing with the reactions. They might want to deal with a 50 caliber machine. We got a full retreat here, at least one retreat. Major hang behind a tombstone. Heh, look at this. That tombstone says Major Thompson. Heh, that's my name. Oh, I guess it isn't so funny then. Flak Panzer striking southwards. Ja, eat flak, you American Schweinhund. Eat flak. Tearing apart their point blank range. Again, note he's just moving about willy-nilly. Very important again. And overall very important when it comes to a lot of Wehrmacht vehicles and Soviet vehicles. They take a 50% accuracy penalty when moving about and shooting. So generally, when it comes to stuff like this and the Ostwind, which more or less is the same stat-wise, keep them still to get the most out of their shots. Also applies to most Oberkommando best vehicles except like the Panther and the Lux, I think. Got the EC8 about to flank in here. I can have some marine support here. Church getting bombarded. Jaegers very quickly exfiltrating from it. Ostwind continues its rapid pursuit of the Yankees. Overall, very aggressive usage of the ambulance by Tomakaze. Generally keeps at the front line and now combines with the Major to give him control. But we can see that Angreifen, despite everything, is actually getting back on the map using just like Kednefs and Ostwind and some other infantry. Gaining back territory there from Tomakaze, despite, the Angreifen, despite, perhaps always not being the sort of strongest strategically, does tactically have a lot of sort of, good elements, and that way can actually push back Tomakaze. North, those troops on each issue of the half-track. Sturm Pioneers pinned down to the ground like insects. Return there getting pulverized, Sherman getting hammered with Panzerfausts. Could move up the Ostwind there to push back the half-track, showing which got to the bigger flak. A lot of artillery fire here from the Major again. Tomakaze likes making use of that ability. Also very nice to see. We got a regular Sherman around here for Tomakaze. Catch up with the Ostwind. Again, was blasting away at the advancing troops. He has no issues just allowing it to shoot at the infantry. Ostwinds falling back here. Angreifen, Mark 1's going to taking up soon, so he can bring up some more armour. German out in the ice. Bit risky there, but he gets caught by the Lekernevs and other things. Down to half health there, and there we go. Overall, also notice again, Tomakaze is actually very sharp when it comes to using the smoke screen abilities on his Sherman tanks. That is definitely some high skill there. High skill there on the sort of American level. I mean, a lot of American players tend not to be a good use of it, but really, sort of one of the things that just makes the American Sherman tank so amazing in game is his ability to just deploy a smoke screen where it is and just lock down anti-tank guns very easily. In particular, the opponent is bunching up the anti-tank guns. The smoke screen is really good because you can just render, you know, 2 packs or 2 Lekernevs or 2 whatever's just completely null and void for a brief amount of time there. Also, in the center, he's actually gone for double Ostwinds. A mobile Flaksturm there by Angreifen. Not sure to go for that one, but I suppose we'll sort of land the Ostwinds some good hits and make use of the Lekernevs to pull it off. But it's going to be pretty risky there. It's going to be pretty risky. It's going to really put a lot of effort there on his tactical and micromanagement skills. And can also be countered. I mean, again, like Lekernevs in this case can easily be smoked out, and the tanks can then deal with the Ostwinds. So it's definitely got some weaknesses here, which Tomakaze has already got the force composition to easily exploit. Got the Sherman sending out there. Oh, he's moving out to the ice in front of the penetrating the Ostwinds. Need to be careful the ice doesn't collapse. Great. Oh, the Lekernevs flying off there. Smoke screen down, but it might be too late here, and got stuck on the ice, which is breaking under it, causing pathing issues, and the Sherman goes down. A nice attempt here, but a bit silly sending in the Sherman on its own with no real support. Infantry armor, Skarnek, smoke screen here, and again just quickly locks down a lot of the armor. Goes hunting here for something, shoots up point blank at Lekernevs, Sturmpioniere, firing a lone Panzer through the smoke, which completely fails to hit the target. Almost got Lekernevs for that. We got a unit wiped here for Tomakaze. Now is I think the time here for Angreifen to get back, and I think he's going to try and line the double Ostwinds so he just land some heavy infantry damage. That way, basically nullifying Tomakaze's infantry element, leaving the tanks a lot more vulnerable to the anti-tank weapons. No rule allowing Angreifen just gain an infantry advantage that way. So that's actually pretty clever here. It's actually something you rarely see in a player, basically despite being behind in, you know, armor and anything else, basically sort of pulling ahead with an advantage because he then proceeds to use hammer away at the infantry, gaining an edge there. I mean, Tomakaze just answers an infantry squad and the captain. Otherwise, he's got no infantry, whereas Angreifen has several Flaksturm, Jaegers, and Sturmpioneers. But this actually means Angreifen's got map control. To an extent, he's got a better chance of controlling it. He now needs to grab all the fuel, and he should check out as fast as possible and then translate this into a better arm advantage versus Tomakaze before it's too late. Because if Tomakaze can build up a sufficient critical mass of tanks, though, he can quickly turn things around here. But we got mines there from Angreifen and the 1 and 12th Panzer Brigade. In this case, just a Panzer Grenadier battalion there dispatched with some whatever elements they could scrape together. The 1 and 12th Panzer Brigade clearly occupied in a lot of places, and was not uncommon for German armoured formations just to be split up to wherever they were needed into several smaller series of Kampfgruppen. Though technically, a Panzer Brigade was sort of already, you know, just a sort of a formalised Kampfgruppe, so worked a lot on the Kampfgruppe format. Getting the Ostwinds prepared though, troops reinforcing. Got the Sherman, got the half-track setting out there. The Lekernevs is ready. Really should take though. There you go, quickly punishing the 5th gun moving ahead there with the double flak panzers. Quickly, as you can notice, they're doing critical damage to the machine gun, wiping the crew in a matter of seconds. They have thought Tomakaze can pull it back here. Certainly highlighting the power of double Ostwinds. Ostwinds are being pushed back, they're taking heavy damage, got the smoke screen down as well there. Pretty much denying support from Lekernevs. In fact, he's gone for free. More mines being laid down here, which Tomakaze in fact might not be able to see thanks to the smoke. But both Ostwinds have been heavily damaged here by Tomakaze, bring up 9 to tank as well. Because there's an awful lot of them, and the anti-tank in that way sort of help deal with the flak panzers. Bit of movement in the south, harassment, hitting back the fuel point, but can't immediately connect it. Flak panzers moving down there, breaking through the fences. we go. Blasting away there with its 30mm flak. Focusing on the Zimimo take, using the distraction offered by the Ostwinds to retreat. And in the center, we got a 5th moving ahead again. It seems like Tomakaze might have made a misclick, or there's something else going on. So that seems a bit risky, considering again, he could easily lose it against, you know, Ostwinds and the likes. But there you go, EC8 to the rescue with a 76mm gun. Anti-tank is around there. In fact, he's gone for double anti-tank guns. Basically, doing what Angreifen did there, with just getting a lot of anti-tank guns, which Angreifen then sort of has to either severely flank, pull off something else, otherwise the anti-tank guns can make very short work of his Ostwinds. So that's certainly going to put some pressure there on Angreifen and the 112th Panzer Brigade. Mine went off there. Jaegers appearing, so he's infiltrating another Jaeger squad. Still no sign of takeout there for Angreifen. I really think you should be pushing for Schwerpanzer quarters as swiftly as possible here. Smoke's been down again. From the Sherman here. I was just trying to figure out where the smoke was coming from. Got all 3 Arcade from down there. Half shot that quickly put behind here the house. Probably anticipating the Arcade a blow up there would come down for it. Sherman is going to catch it, but there's a risk of losing it, which is certainly something that Tomakaze should be mindful of. There you go. He's using the chaos. The fact Sherman creates, unless they're trying to target that, he moves up everything else. That way punishes the Kednev. Quick cutting one down there. Very good maneuver there by Tomakaze. That was tactically very clever. I mean, sometimes you could just use a tank as bait for anti-tank guns, and then as they all try to transfer that one tank into that one big target, you then move everything else and then take care of the anti-tank guns. It's a bit risky. Had there been any means with Panzerfaster, that Sherman would have been a lot of trouble. But without it, that was actually a very good move there by Tomakaze. Taking some fire in the Sherman. Got Ostwinds, the Sturm Pioneer firing away there. Artillery fire raining from above there as Tomakaze slowly falls back, but at the same time not giving up ground too fast. Sturm Pioneer's wiped. Panzer dropped. Bit of walk-up movement there, and that was quickly punished by Tomakaze and the 1st Armoured Division. Cap moving ahead. They're taking fire from the double Ostwinds. Storm of high explosive rounds that are just wailing down upon them. And unfortunately, they're being cut to ribbons. Overall, Angreifen seems to suffer from Stalingrad syndrome. Overall, needs to consider again the rest of the map, or at least he's attacking from different angles. I mean, this isn't Passchendaele. Jaegers pushing ahead. He almost got the rifle and then retreating with a pilfered Panzerschreck. We got quick coverage here from the half-tech and the EC8, stalling Angreifen's Jaeger infantry attack. He's going for a play from Sturm Pioneers because, well, with a lot of the Sturm Pioneer squad, he's got no way of repairing his Ostwinds, and without repairing the Ostwinds, he's got no way of pressuring Tomakaze in at least one way. But overall, I mean, the funny thing is, Angreifen kind of does well when he remembers, to attack the rest of the map as well, but when he just gets focused on one point, he quickly loses map control. As he tends to get not very good at flanking, and overall also just allows Tomakaze to concentrate his defenses, where Tomakaze is then a lot more effective and efficient. 2nd EC8 on the way there for Tomakaze. He's moving ahead like Kednev, is there? I'm guessing that's a misclick as he quickly retreats. Then might have wanted to do something else, but for some reason, like Kednev has removed out. Sounding quite unfortunate. Got the Ostwind pushing heavily despite the damage. He was willing to risk it a bit. Sturm Pioneer with the support kits on the way to take expedient repairs as well. I'm going to allow him to spot mines, but Tomakaze has gone for rifle company. He's got no sign of the M20, so he doesn't need it for the minesweepers. He simply needs it because it helps him repair his Ostwinds faster and gets them back into the fight faster. Now the EC8 there for Tomakaze finally arriving. He could have used the captain power to supervise and speed up the production. Got the EC8 running forwards. Like a Detroit steamroller and opening up then the Germans. So there we go, almost got the Flak Panzer ready, and the Flak Panzer is almost veterancy too. Jaegers advancing. You should ring about in the north here. He's got a lot of fuel, he's just not doing anything with it. Again, he could even try and push for medium tanks like a Panzer IV. Yak Panzer, I think, would be the best choice here at the moment, initially at least, to have to deal with the armour. So far, Angreifen seems very much committed just to a lot of infantry like Kednevs and double Ostwinds. Not what I'd call a strategically recommendable move in my book. I mean, again, he's tactically good for the most part, except when again he gets, you know, Stalingraded. But strategically, as you can see, there's sort of issues, since overall Tomakaze's got the more flexible force. And Angreifen gives him more options, more troops. And there you go again. Sherman's pretty much just to an extent countering like Kedmers with the smoke screens. And the Ostwind is sunk, and that was his veterancy to Ostwind. Quite an unfortunate loss there for Angreifen. Man goes off, killing Riflemen, pinning them down. Kedmers creeping up there. Looks like it's run out of smoke. Veterancy 4 there, by the way, closing veterancy 5. Kedmers moving out, and sniped by the Sherman. Oh dear. It's only one of the weaknesses of the Kedmer. If we're lucky, it can take out the crew. In this case, that was a veterancy 4 crew. That's a big loss for Angreifen. Good rate of fire. Good range, I believe. Well, that maybe veterancy 5 first gets the good range. No, that's it, veterancy 4. Now, that's just a really big loss there for Angreifen versus Tomakaze. Good killing and blasted Sherman getting hit by Kedmer as they just fire rocket after rocket at it. And 5th cable wiped. Thing about the Kedmer was, it was basically just a Panzerschreck on wheels, since back when they sort of decided initially the Panzerschreck, they wasn't entirely sure how to use it. So they basically had the Panzerschreck with the Rakets and Panzerbüchse, or rocket anti-tank rifle, and then had the Kedmer sort of more wheeled version, which overall had more effective range and accuracy compared to it, but overall wasn't, you know, quite as handy as the Panzerschreck, and so it rather lost out compared to the Panzerschreck. Fun fact there. Stealing here the 50 caliber. Good move should help contain Tomakaze's infantry a bit. Though of course Tomakaze is now increasingly going for a lot of armor, which is really why Angreifen needs to take out for something with a bit more panzer in it. In particular, as Tomakaze should himself more than capable of dealing with the Kedmer of smoking him, so he needs something that isn't so easily smoked out. There you go, 50 cal about to get wiped by the Jaegers, and there you go, that could be another weapon that's cool. Now we could also just salvage it for the extra fuel and the munitions. Or could of course just scrap it. I mean, again, it would make it a lot harder for Tomakaze to use his troops. Of course, there's the counterpoint that he doesn't have a lot of troops, so he doesn't really need it. In which case, you just salvage it for extra fuel, and then push it out, you know, for armor. But he really needs to take out now. It's starting to look pretty grim here, despite, you know, having a lot more infantry. The problem is Tomakaze's armor is sort of reaching the critical point where it doesn't particularly matter, because he just sort of hit through with sheer armored force. That thing is almost veteran free and an ace. Continent secured. Angreifen, they've still got pretty good map control. Again, tactically, his micromanagement is pretty good. But again, strategically, so far this match has displayed a few weaknesses. Again, Tomakaze, while perhaps sometimes not always quite as, you know, solid as Angreifen, unit preservation might have certainly struck me a bit. I mean, he's overall displaying, I think, a stronger strategy in terms of force compensation sort of elements. He's robustly also reacting better to Angreifen's strategy, whereas Angreifen can't react really well at the moment. I mean, again, he's just getting smoked half the time. He doesn't need to counter it, and just meets the Kedmer as quickly becomes, you know, easy targets for Tomakaze. There you go, Rifleman Captain pushing forwards. Full retreat for Angreifen. A few well-deployed smoke screens from the Shermans completely, well, nullifies the defensive line there by Angreifen with several anti-tank weapons and a machine gun, but just in the face of that many smoke screens, it doesn't really matter since he can't see through it. The Kedmer were destroyed. He really should be taking out. Should have taken up, to be honest. At this point, he could probably try and push out a Panther, which I think is sort of one of his better choices with all these EC8s. Good range, good armor. We'll have to see what it ends up with here for Angreifen. Smoke screen from the rifle as well. Good work again. Tomakaze very consistently utilising smoke versus Angreifen. 2 thumbs up here. And it's definitely worth quite a few millidays on the Dave scale, the American skill. Easy hit of the veterancy 3, 31 kills. Good rate of fire. Taking a hit there though from the Kedmer for veterancy 2 there. Sneaking up here, looking for easy hits down by the Kedmer. Lost an anti-tank gun, infantry charging forwards, ECA anti-tank and half-tank rushing forwards. Kept saying up to give it there, goes Champions and half-tank now attacking the other side again, catching off guard the kidnappers. He's likely just going to smoke them as well if he has to. There you go, one kidnapper down again. Ostwinds in a lot of trouble, need to pull it back. Kenneth doing many can, but it's just too much going on here for Angreifen. His forces going to run out to recruit them. Ostwinds about to go down, looks like he's going to get it destroyed entirely. And there you go, Kenneth finale as well here. Tomakaze is just on a bloody armoured steamroller move here against Angreifen. They finally loses the half-track. He's done quite an extraordinary amount of damage there to Angreifen. Quite an extraordinary amount of damage. Ostwinds with kidnappers. Didn't quite get any of the infantry, but he got most of the right support weapons here versus all of his tanks. But at least he's, in this case, sort of kept it cooler head. He's actually shifted out units elsewhere. Seeing he's losing ground, he can sort of grab elsewhere, and that way, you know, make some gains. And sure, it doesn't become a complete wash up here for Angreifen. So, good overall sort of cool headedness there, but I really, really sincerely wish he'd take up and go for armor. And again, as you might see there, again, just in case smoke screens, again, just sort of experience, intuition, gut.
Rear echelon squad ready for action.
Pearson's around there to help with repairs, probably also more flamethrowers, maybe. So Tomakaze is now in command of a very excellent armoured force. There's Angreifen's got bugger all at the moment.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
So there definitely needs to be some change to Angreifen's strategy. And there you go, he's finally going for a truck to take up. I would have to say this is much too late. And again, highlights, I think, a bit of weakness in his strategy. He's only here for extra manpower of fuel and munitions. Gives him a bit extra. You're still maintaining map control through again all of the infantry, but the tanks are making it harder and harder for Angreifen to leverage that very well. He just needs to get up there to our Panther quarters and they need to push for a Panther. I mean, it's going to be tricky obviously because it's going to be rather late to the fight here, but it's going to be his best chance are that he gets double Yak Panthers out. The full retreat here. Again, no anti-tank into the way before at the moment. He's trying to lay down mines. Truck needs to be set up for Angreifen pretty schnell. Mine goes off there, preventing the veteran EC8 ace there to sort of pull through. Seems like there's something in the actually of the turret. I've never noticed that one. I've never noticed that one. Actually, I think it's just sort of day markings or something in it. He's just going to briefly pause. I've never noticed that before. Or maybe it's actually a kill tally there to sort of mark out how many tanks it's knocked out. I guess. Oh, it's a very neat detail. Never noticed it before now. My apologies there. I just was really curious because it's literally the first time I ever noticed it. Got the machine gun there on the run. Troops setting out for Angreifen. Schwer Panther quarters almost done, and he's got the fuel for a Panther. Just needs to set up the manpower, in which case to maybe begin pushing back against Tomakaze. Tomakaze just hitting every other point in the meanwhile, and again just running back with his tanks and showing dominance. Got a fourth EC8 on the way there. It's going to be really tricky for a Panther or any other arm to deal with. I mean, you might just have to go for a double Yak Panther. The problem, of course, that's going to be a lot more manpower, but it's going to be a lot more chewable than, you know, two Panthers. But no, he's actually taking up further. He's going to go for a King Tiger. In the current circumstances, and about the current manpower he has, I think that is definitely too far-fetched and possible for Angreifen. I mean, again, he's going to have to somehow save up 720 manpower while somehow still holding the ground and, you know, taking all of these losses. I don't think that's very realistic there by Angreifen. I definitely think you should just push for a Yak Panzer or a Panther in these circumstances.
Tank support is here. Sherman ready.
A lot more realistic and a lot more likely to happen, but no. Angreifen has set his sights there on the King Tiger. I mean, he's been able to put up a great front. This is Tomakaze again, strategically ultimate in the longer term. I feel he was undercut by it. Again, the lack of just more options, because he'd rather get himself stuck on Ostwinds with no real sort of additional choices in armour, like, you know, Yak Panzers, Panthers, or Panzer IVs. No orbital knives to have some more additional heavy infantry elements. Ultimately, you know, resulting in this situation where, again, despite some clever manoeuvring at times, just can't stick around for long due to the tanks just rolling over him. He got 40 kills in that EC8. 40 kills.
We're losing a capture point.
Angreifen lining out victory points. We've got the EC8 moving for the Stump in here at 50 caliber as well. In a bit of a sore spot. Jaegers attacking, machine getting blasted. We've got the EC8 flanking in behind. I mean, he's really not trying to set up for the King Tiger. The problem is, you know, by the time he now gets the King Tiger, he's going to be up against 4 EC8s. And there you go, Angreifen realises the fight is lost. The battle is done, and he retreats, falling back with however many he's got left. A brutal fight, certainly a lot of bad fortune extent here, though again, Angreifen sort of tactically overall, I think initially made the mistake of focusing on the centre, not enough on the resource, and then later game got too caught up in Ostwinds and just infantry tactics, and ultimately did not, you know, build up logistics for more tanks, allowing Tomakaze to just build an arm advantage to the point that by this time, well, even if he did go for a King Tiger, his chance of actually getting it anywhere would be pretty much next to nothing. Overall, very good play there by Tomakaze. Tactically very sound, strategically also very sound. Good use of smoke, which in many cases just allowed him to completely negate the Raketnevs, completely removing that part of Angreifen's strategy. I mean, again, had he not been able to do that, I mean, you know, Tomakaze is probably in a much worse spot, but because of the consistent usage of the smoke, then of course he could, he was able to render the Raketnevs Angreifen in many cases not very useful, and that gave Tomakaze a huge advantage in many engagements. I mean, he struggled to hold ground because he lost so much infantry, but he could easily just push back the front, doing heavy damage using his EC8s, because again he could just negate all of Angreifen's defenses very excellently. And that's probably again where he should have had tanks, because they sort of maneuvered around the smoke to an extent, you know, done some damage instead. So definitely some need for strategic improvement, I think, there by Angreifen. But overall, again, really good play there for Tomakaze. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell friends, share it with everyone. And of course, remember to press like. And of course, if you like what I do, you know, do consider supporting or pledging on Patreon. Of course, a big thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, without which this would not be possible. Links are in the video description. Where can I donate on PayPal, pledge on Patreon? All that helps me out a ton, as I do try to do this for a living. So, you know, every little bit helps a ton with food and rent. And of course, if you'd like to send a replay of your own, links are also in the video description. This is Imperial Dancing. Cheers, thank you all for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.